CBS Sports HQ is built by the Home Depot, how doers get more done, and Jalen Milroe getting so much done. Roll Tide, 4 rushing touchdowns in this game. He's got 16 total rushing touchdowns this season. That's most in a season by an Alabama quarterback. And it is his second career 4 rushing touchdown game. Both come against LSU, had it against the Tigers last year. 42-13, Milroe had 294 total yards and the 4 rushing touchdowns as Alabama virtually eliminates LSU from playoff contention, handing them their 3rd loss this season. It is their 2nd conference loss, but Alabama very much alive at 7-2 with this result. CBS Sports HQ is built by the Home Depot, how doers get more done. Here with former Louisiana running back Emory Hunt and CBS Sports college football writer Richard Johnson. You know what it's like to be playing behind a great quarterback at Louisiana. You saw what Jalen Milroe did on this night. How would you describe the game that he had 4 rushing touchdowns?
Impressive, because you want to be under control at the quarterback position, and it's really about how well you handle the situations. I'm big on situational football when I break down these quarterbacks in terms of the NFL draft and all of those things, and they were 10 of 13 on 3rd downs, 4 for 4 inside the red zone. And that tells you how big Jalen Milroe was in this ball game for Alabama. He just was under control in the torrential, driving southern Louisiana rainstorm. He handled his business. He helped lead this team to victory tonight, Richard.
Emory, it's not even just about being in control. At the end of the day, LSU was not able to force Jalen Milroe to be a drop-back passer. South Carolina was. South Carolina was able to make him stand back there and try to beat them with his legs. And LSU wasn't able to get that done tonight. That's how you beat Jalen Milroe. That's how you beat Alabama. But LSU, time and time again, fell victim to the same thing that they've fallen victim to all season, which is the QB run game. Lenora Sellers, South Carolina, 88 rushing yards before he gets hurt in that game. Marcel Reed coming off the bench for Texas A&M, 62 rushing yards. And then Jalen Milroe, 12 attempts, 190 yards on the ground. LSU has a QB run game problem on defense. No doubt about it. And it showed time and time again. It's the reason they lost this game.
Which is so surprising to me, because you are fresh off of a season where Jaden Daniels was your Heisman Trophy winning quarterback. If any team in the SEC is supposed to know how to stop the QB run, it's probably LSU, having seen it all throughout practice for 2 years under Brian Kelly. So you're absolutely right, because at the end of the day, that's what really turned the tide of this game. They were always a man short, and you can't stop the QB run. You couldn't stop Bama tonight, and it allowed Jalen Milroe to be efficient in the passing game, and his efficiency just opened up the run game even more so, and they really took it to LSU.
Well, he took it upon himself after that loss to Tennessee. He took ownership of that. He said, I have to be better. They're coming off the bye here. Of course, they beat Missouri before the bye. But what does this tell you about Jalen Milroe? Because here's a guy that we talked about being in the Heisman conversation. They lose to Vanderbilt, they lose to Tennessee, he's out of the Heisman conversation. Now he's looking forward to next season. Of course, he wants to finish strong, get in the playoff, and lead them perhaps to a title, right? When you see a kid like that, and I know he's got leadership and he's a veteran and he's a guy you've seen in this program, but for him to take that upon himself, that Tennessee loss, and then come out and do what he did tonight against LSU, what does that say about the kid, the player that Jalen Milroe is when you're evaluating him?
He's a battle-tested guy who sees the field or sees the game like a coach sees it. And you heard it during the broadcast. He's a finalist for the William Campbell Trophy, which is the academic Heisman. He's graduated early. He understands how to play within his role. We saw him get benched last year for the South Florida game, respond after that, got significantly better to where he was. It went from we can't win with Jalen Milroe to, man, we can't win without this guy. And even this year, struggling, got off to a great start, then he struggled some, and now he's bouncing back and finding his way. So I like that from a pro perspective. For me, it's like, okay, this guy is able to go through the ups and downs of a rookie season that you're going to see at the NFL level. We've seen rookie quarterbacks at the next level struggle with that. So for me, that's where he has the biggest growth. And that's what I see about him, and I am impressed the most. He may not be the best pound for pound, let's say pure passer or whatever the quarterback you want to say about the position, but from a intangible standpoint, that's where he stands up above the rest.
I wanted to see what Alabama had without Ryan Williams. I wanted to see what Alabama had besides throw deep to Ryan Williams. It's a heck of a party trick, but you don't want to rely on that. You know what I mean? And so, but being able to have Jalen Milroe's legs and be able to generate a run game with Jalen Milroe, really important. And look, Jam Miller, not a ton, not voluminous in this run game, but pulled off a 38-yard run, 38 rushing yards, I should say, in this game. Jam Miller was churning it out, too, a little bit. It was a multifaceted run game for Alabama in this game.
I want to take you back to the start of the second half. All right, there was a critical play, you could say a turning point in this game. LSU has driven all the way down to the goal line. They're at the 4-yard line. Garrett Nussmeier throws a pick to Deontay Lawson. Emory, break this down for me. This was a terrible pass, but also that's the kind of plays that you see on Sundays.
Here's the thing, and the reason why I say this is the play you see on Sundays is because how many times we see a defender have a chance to make the interception, they don't make it, and then the following play is a touchdown. So for him to recognize, oh, they're trying to influence me to go with this crosser, to stay in my zone, and the wherewithal to jump up and catch the ball with his hands, that's big time. That was a turning point in the ball game because we've seen time and time again at every level of football, the backer drops that play.
And so after that, they get the pick. They drive all the way down the field, but Jalen Milroe gets sacked on 3rd and 8, but there's a face mask. That changes the whole complexion of the game because now there's a penalty. We got a first down, and then 4 plays later, you see Jalen Milroe punch it in for another touchdown. That sequence right there is what was, to me, the difference in this game, Richard.
I mean, you want to be honest, that's an interception 2 ways, by the way, because that throw is going behind the receiver it's actually intended to go to, besides the great play by the defender there. So, yeah, a lot going on that play for Alabama. And Garrett Nussmeier did not play well in this game. It's the second massive spot, A&M being the first, that I did not think Garrett Nussmeier played particularly well. And Emory, we talked about this when we were sitting watching this game. You know Jalen Milroe knows what's being said about Garrett Nussmeier, that Garrett Nussmeier is a future first-round quarterback that you need to have your eye on, maybe a 2026 first-round pick. And Jalen Milroe tried to say, no. I still do this too. You know what I'm saying? I'm still QB1 in this league until proven otherwise.
Well, we see it all the time. We talk about it on Thursday night when Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens are playing in a primetime spot against a primetime quarterback. You're going to get the best of Lamar Jackson. Now, if they played Arkansas State, then Arkansas State will probably beat the Baltimore Ravens because they're not going to be up for that ball game. Same situation here in college football. When you have a guy like Jalen Milroe going up against somebody that they're talking about, we saw this in the first game against when they played Georgia, and Carson Beck was getting all that love, and here comes Jalen Milroe like, nah, I'm that dude, and that's what happened, and we saw this tonight against LSU. So you're absolutely right, Richard. This is somebody that, hey, understands the moment, and that's what it's all about. Football is a situation about moments.
So second time this season, right? Second time this season, Jalen Milroe is coming to a game with that guy on the other sideline is going to be an NFL draft pick, and what's happened both times?
Jalen Milroe has stood out.
Stepped up.
Yep.
And on this night, as our graphics and research called on the full screen, TV jargon, the Tiger King. They even had a live tiger on the sideline. I guess it didn't intimidate Alabama at all.
Man,
so,
listen.
Yeah, got the live tiger there, and it was
Don't ever bring that tiger back, man. Don't ever bring it like that.
It is time now for the Doers Playbook, built by the Home Depot, how Doers get more done, breaking down how a team's game plan leads to their success. Emory, which phase of this game was critical to the victory? I think there's pretty one clear answer here.
I mean, me and Richard probably share the same way. It's QB power and QB run game. And I'll take it from the point of the fact that when you look at Milroe and what happens when you have a quarterback that has that +1 capability, it keeps everyone on their toes, and you're going to only see certain amounts of coverages on the back end. It makes the throws easier for you because you are controlling the defense. And I've always said this, the person that has the football always controls and dictates the angles that you take on him. So if you understand running like a Lamar Jackson does, like a Jaden Daniel does, like we've seen Jalen Milroe do, you will always have the advantage running with the football.
Emory, I think that teams still kind of underestimate how truly athletic Jalen Milroe is. Like, maybe you've seen it on film, maybe you saw it last year, and maybe you forgot a little bit, but man, when he sticks that foot in the ground and he goes, Man, listen. So at the end of the day, like, you could game plan it up. You can drill it. You could even stick a running back there, a quarterback on scout team during the week. But on Saturday night, when number 4 gets the ball in his hands, it's a different deal. And LSU found that out tonight.
I will say this. I like to throw out comparisons, but follow it. We all of age to where his first step explosiveness reminds me is compared to how big he is. He's 6'1", 225. I hadn't seen that level of first step explosiveness since Bo Jackson. And Bo Jackson, when he took off, you go watch that run against the Seattle Seahawks in the old Kingdome. When he hit the corner, it was all she wrote. When we watched the last run he had, the 72-yarder, we both was like, gone. Like when he got to the linebacker, it was like, it's a wrap because
Bo
that's
Jackson ran angry, though.
Bo Jackson was 6'1", 230, ran a 4.19. That is insane. I'm not saying he runs a 4.19.
Jalen runs well for a quarterback.
I
don't know if he's Bo Jackson.
Jalen has that explosive first step, and then he glides.
Yeah. Right. It was like, it's not Lamar. It's not Jaden Daniels. It's almost Michael Vick, but it's a little bit more under control than Vick. He is phenomenal with the ball in his hands. Explosiveness. That's what I'm talking about. Not that he actually runs like Bo Jackson. I'm saying he is as explosive with the first step as Bo Jackson was.
Are you saying he's like a unicorn?
Yeah, it's hard to find one single comparison for him. I wouldn't want to chase him if I was on defense. That's turn I'm making.
Well, the recipe for success, the game plan, the Home Depot game plan is really Alabama's game plan, okay? They're 9-0 when Milroe has 2 or more rushing touchdowns. Get him 2 rushing touchdowns, and you get a win, and Alabama gets another win as they keep their college football playoff hopes alive. As you take a look at Alabama's upcoming schedule, home game against Mercer, that's a pay game, at Oklahoma, and then the Iron Bowl.
Shout out to Mercer, man.
It's a pay game. You know what I'm talking about. Auburn. Hey, look, Jalen Milroe had the Milroe miracle last season, right?
Right.
I don't know that he's going to need a miracle this season. You never know. Those games get squirrely late all the time. So if Alabama can run the table here, go 10-2, they're going to have themselves a spot in the college football playoff.